Welcome back. My name is Vincent Sturgeon. We're going to be doing session 5 of ProPresenter 7 training. In today's session, we are going to focus on how do we set up our screen configurations, how do we set up our live stream, what are actions, how do we automate them, and what are looks, which will go along with our screen configuration, and then what about our lower third? How do I do those? So that's going to be in our session today, and we're going to go ahead and get started with screen configuration. Now it's important to understand how screens work in ProPresenter 7 because you're going to have a lot of them. Even if you only have one or two, they are going to operate differently. So, and then it's going to operate completely differently if you have a live stream. So we're going to go ahead and go into that, and we're going to go up here to screens, and we're going to configure screens. Now right now I don't have any screens hooked up, so I've just created placeholders. As you can see, my left screen is disconnected, my right screen is just a placeholder, my live stream is a placeholder, and so is my stage screen. But this is going to get you the idea of what to do. So when you come in here and you create all your screens and you plug all your screens into your computer, you're going to see it show up on your output. Now, the only thing that I have right now to identify is just my main screen, as you can see. And which I don't want to use because we need that for this training. So my left screen, I'm just going to use as a placeholder. And I'm going to, for right now, you're going to choose which one you want. So this is going to be a placeholder 1920 by 1080p. All right, and then I can turn my audience screen back on. So I have, in my fixed setup, I have a left screen, I have a right screen, I have my live stream, and then I have a stage screen in the back. All right. Now, if you have, say you have two projectors but only one screen, meaning that you're spanning two projectors for one whole screen, you're going to want to do a grouped with only one. There we go, one row and two columns. So this would be projector 1, this would be projector 2, but they're showing the same thing. Or maybe they aren't showing the same thing. You want them to be differently. So we're just going to call this one a grouped, and then this one's going to be a grouped as well. So most likely you're just going to have a single screen, and you're going to show this the exact same thing. So this is my left screen, and this is my right screen, and they act independently. And then I have one called a live stream, which is going to be, and this is not used for any sort of screen, it's just being outputted to my live stream. All right, so these are my screens, and of course I have my stage screen right here. So we're going to exit out of that, and yours is going to look differently according to what you have. Maybe you only have one screen, maybe you're not doing a live stream right now. So we're going to exit out of that. That's how you configure the screens. And then next, the most important part of this is your looks. So we're going to go back into screens, and we're going to edit looks. All right. So as you can see here, I'll expand this screen here. Your default looks like this. My left screen shows props and messages. It shows announcement. It shows presentation. It shows my video input, my media slide, and it shows my right screen. My right screen's the same way, and then my live stream is the exact same setup. So I'm going to rename this this look right here. I'm going to, and this is good if you're not doing a live stream. If you're not doing a live stream, a default, this is a good default. The problem comes when you're live streaming is you don't want the live stream to look exactly like your main audience screen. That's why we create looks. You want them to look differently. So let's do this. We'll add a look here, and I'm going to rename this. I'm going to rename this lower third. All right. So if I have a live stream and I want a lower third to be on that live stream, I want to be able to see my video input on my live stream, but I don't want to see a bunch of other stuff. I don't want to see my media. I don't want to see announcements. I don't want to see props or messages. I just want to see, if I'm using a lower third, my video input and my slide. Okay? So in order to do that, I need to turn off media. I don't want the full media on there. I don't want announcements on there. I don't want props or messages on there. I just want the text and my video input. All right. And then on my left and right screen, it depends upon your setup, but most churches don't have a large enough sanctuary or enough people to have a video input coming into their main screen. Now, if you do and you want it to have a lower third, then you can just copy the live stream here. But for most people, they're just going to have their main screens be the full screen media and slide. And they're not going to want video input from a camera coming in. They don't want to see their people up on their main screen because they can see them live. Now, if you had a massive sanctuary and you had people who were hundreds of feet away and you had a bunch of different video monitors, you're probably not watching this video, one. And two, if you were, you would not want to uncheck these. You want to keep your video input coming in. But for the majority of people, we don't need a video input into our main screen. All right? But you do want everything else. So the other thing we have to do is we have to tell our live stream to have a certain theme. So we're going to go into presentation, and then I need to tell it to do a certain theme. Now I don't have a lower third set up here, so I'm going to create a new theme, and I'm going to call it lower third. And then all you have to do, same editor as before, same look as before. All we need to do is include our lower third. So I'm going to section about this much off. And I'm going to call this line 1 of text, like you would just as a standard lyric editor. Line 2 of text. I want this to be all caps. Maybe I want it to be shadowed. And then I'm going to go ahead and scale up or down depending on the container. All right, so that's step 1. Now with a lower third, you want some kind of element behind it. You want it to be dynamic. So what I do is I'm going to go up in here and I'm going to add media. This is the first time we've ever done this in our sessions here. So then it opens up my my downloads folder. And I'm going to look for one that I've downloaded called lower third transparency, and I'm going to open it. And now it'll pop in here on top of my text. So remember, we can just drag this down, and then I want this lower third to match my text box. So on this one, we kind of have to get kind of fun with it. And I want it just to be in the middle of that water. And you can change this week to week. You can change it to fit your theme. Like I've been doing all these aerials, kind of nice, just the whole theme, the entire playlist, like I've been showing you. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to go back. We're done with this. This is now our lower third. I'm going to go back. Maybe we'll name this lower third live stream. Right. So now I'm going to go back. And I'm going to go to screens and edit looks. So now I can go into this live stream presentation. I can go to lower third and select it as my style. And this is where this is important. So I'm going to go back to show. And then I'm going to select my screen as live stream. Okay. So what I need to do now is I need to tell ProPresenter what look to do. So for my lyrics, I'm going to go ahead and click this. I'm going to go to Add Action, my action palette. Again, you can go up to View and do the same thing, Action Palette here. And I'm going to tell it to do a look. All right, so Audience Look right here. I'm going to add that in, and then I'm going to name it Lower Third and call that done. Now, when I click on this, my main white block text here and my nice background don't show up. What shows up is my video here, my video input, and then my lower third. So that when I go through all my slides, now I have a nice lower third, and I still have my video on top of that. And this is for our live stream, so what we're putting on YouTube or what we're putting on Facebook. All right. So let's go back to looks. Now that's nice for, that's really nice for lyrics and for songs. But you wouldn't necessarily want that for your pre-announcement loops. You wouldn't want that for your regular announcements. You may not want that for your post or for your countdowns. So what I also do is I create another look, and I rename this full media. Meaning I'm going to show exactly what's on my left and right screen on my live stream media. So I don't change any of this, except for I do take off the video input from left and right screen because I don't want that in there. And then I still have my media and slide and my video input in here. So I want my full media. I don't need announcements. I don't need prompts on my live stream. So we have video inputs, we have slide and media. And then what I can do is, again, I can go back into, say, let's go back into a pre-service announcement loop. I'm going to add an action, and you can actually do it from audience look here. Add action, audience look, and I'm going to do full media. So now I have this lower third from my lyrics, but for the pre-service announcement loop, it looks exactly like what everyone else sees. The reason we do this is because, again, we're sending this out to a live stream. We want it to look professional. And if I were to switch this to a lower third, I wouldn't be able to get these rich pictures. I wouldn't be able to get any of these moving backgrounds. Or even my countdown. When I'm counting down and I have this really nice trivia countdown, that would not show up on my live stream. So we want this to be full. And then, of course, when we go back into lyrics, we can add action, audience look into my lower third. So it's important to differentiate. So now I have this full. When I go into my lower third, then it switches to when I go back to my song, now I have lower third, and now it looks professional. And then maybe I can come back into my meet and greet time. I can add action. My audience look can be my, oh, no, I don't want that one. Edit actions. I want my audience look to be full media. So yeah, I'm doing all this song. That's great. And then we come to this, and now I have my meet and greet time again. Okay? And then that'll go until we hit our lower third on my lyrics again. We have our video going, and we have our lower third. The only time this gets complicated, we'll go ahead and add a full here because we want people to see this. I'm going to add action, audience look, full media. And then I'll go back here, add action, audience look. I want my lower third for my song. The only time this gets complicated is during the sermon. Because you want people to see your sermon text, but then you want them to see only you, or whoever's preaching. You want them to only see the pastor during his preaching time. So the way to go about this is to create another look. So we'll go to Screen, Edit Looks. That is just video only. No screen here. So I'm going to create another look. I'm going to rename it Video Only. Right? And then I'm going to take off this media and the slide for live stream, announcements and props, so the only thing people see is my video input. And then, of course, I don't need video input for my left or right screen on this, this portion here. So now, when I have my sermon, what you may want to do is you can have let's go ahead and duplicate this. We'll just copy and paste it. So maybe you want this to show up immediately, right? So, or maybe there's a prayer time. Typically what we have is some sort of prayer time after this, give us clean hands. So I want this to be full. So we'll add action, audience look. I want this to be full media while the prayer is going on. Because typically my video team is zooming in on the pastor during this time. They don't want the full stage, they just want the person who's preaching. So this kind of gives us a transition point from the prayer to them zooming in to when the person starts preaching. So then I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. We're still not a live stream capture. And then what I want to do is this on the second one, because we don't want this to change for left and right people, right? We want left and right screen to always show until we get to the text, to always show our sermon banner. But we do want it to change for our live stream. So I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to add action, audience look, and I'm going to go to video only. All right. And what I could do is I could also, I'm going to add an action, and I'm going to go ahead and add a prop, and I'm going to add my chyron. So now, when we have this video only on my live stream, I don't have props turned on. Let me, so we do want, so we'll go back to screens, edit looks. We'll do a video only, and then I need another one. Video with props. So again, we'll just turn off the video for our left and right screen. We'll turn off slide to media, and the only thing we'll have is props. All right, so we'll turn that off. So now I want this one. I'm going to edit the action, and I'm going to edit the audience look, and I want this to be video only with props. Done. So transition time, people are zooming in the camera, and now I only have the video, and then I have the chyron naming the name of my senior pastor. Hopefully none of you actually have a Reverend Donk Bonkers. So now I have both of those. And that can keep going until we have our first transition, which is going to be when the sermon passage is read. Now, if it happens automatically like mine does, I usually give some sort of opening. I upset the equilibrium, and then I go ahead and I read the passage. So on this one, which is my background, I'm going to change the audience look on this one to full media. I want them to see everything. I want them to see this background. I want them to see my sermon text. I want them to follow along. And then when I get to here, this last one here, I want to go back to video only. So now we only have just the person preaching. All right. And then I can go ahead and copy this and paste it. Copy, paste. And then I can edit this one as a transition at the end of the sermon. And I can go back to full media so they can zoom out and get ready for my worship set 4, which then, again, I'll add an audience look for lower third. And at the end of this whole thing, we want to go back, add action, audience look to my full media. So they can see all of our rich pictures as the sermon or the live stream is ending. So let's go through this. We have the last song before the sermon. And of course, I didn't click on the lower third. So last one before the sermon, we go through the song, the entire song here. And then we get to the transition. Full screen comes up. The video person zooms in. Someone's praying before the sermon, and then the pastor comes on after the prayer. He has a chyron, or he or she has a chyron, saying his or her name, what their status is. If it's not the pastor that week, you can change it to the deacon of the board or whoever it is. Or another, the youth pastor, whoever's given the message, you can change that. And then when they have the actual scripture, it goes to full. They give the scripture verses. It goes back to video only for the duration of the rest of the sermon, unless, of course, they have more elements of maybe they have bullets or whatever. You can jump back and forth between a video only and the full. And then we have a full media for the live stream as a transition out of the sermon, so they can zoom out and get ready for the next lower third with the video. Now, I don't have my video set up, so this black section here is video. In order for you to get your video in here, you need some sort of encoder. You need maybe an ADA Mini or a Blackmagic card in your computer. You need something that takes the signal from your camera, digitizes it into your computer. And that can happen in a variety of different ways. We're not going to tackle that on this. If you want to learn more, comment, and then I'll create a video on that as well. But if you have all that, you know how to do that. In order to put it into this live stream into here, or your camera into here, we'll go to Preferences. We'll just click on that. And then we'll go to Input. And then you'll just change your video source. So I could do my FaceTime camera. We'll do that this way. And then it's going to ask me all of these. And now you see me. Hey, what's up? So we'll clear that off. And now when I go to this section, I need to tell it to actually start a live stream. I need to tell it to actually turn my camera source on. So I'm going to go to right click, I'm going to add another action, go to action palette, and I'm going to tell it to add a video input. And I just put it from input 1, which is my FaceTime camera. Hit done. It'll be probably, if you have a Blackmagic, it'll be a certain device. So now I have full, and now when it comes on, I'm preaching. There you go. Full, and I'm preaching again. So that's how you go about doing that with your video. Now, at the end of it all, if you want to clear everything out, say that you only want this to go once, or maybe you want to clear things out, you can just right-click this. I'm going to add action palette. And then as you can see, I can clear everything. I can clear just the audio or my media. My video input, if at the end of the sermon I don't want my video input anymore, I just clear that. I can clear my props or my messages automatically. So these are really important if you want to automate things for your media team. You can also add an audio input, video input. You can, if you have at the very beginning of your, if you want music to start 25 minutes before your pre-announcement loop, I can say, hey, I want an audio bin playlist. I want my, and then if you want it to start over each time it loops, which you don't, you can always re-trigger. Now when I click this, my music's going to start. Pretty genius. And I'm going to clear all on that. And then, so that's media, audio bin. My media bin, if I want a certain playlist to go along with it, you can, or a certain graphic. Again, we talked about last time, the stage, a timer. If you have a certain timer that you want to add, you can do that there. Prop we talked about last time. Audience look, which we talked about in detail here. And then a certain message you can also add as an automated action. So that's kind of the way that looks and actions work. And it's important when you have a live stream. Now, if you aren't doing a live stream, you probably won't use looks that much, because whatever's going on your screen is going to go on your screen. If you do have live stream and you are using, especially if you're using ProPresenter to go out to a live stream, or using ProPresenter itself to capture the stream, then you want to go ahead and do it this way. You want to have different elements and different looks for your lyrics. So say if I'm doing my lyrics, I can still show up. Oh, I didn't add my action. Add action. I'm going to add my live stream here, my video input here. Except I didn't actually need to edit my input one. Yep, okay, we're good. So now when I click on this, I show up on the top. I have my lyrics coming along here, and there you go. And I can clear all. So that's how you go about doing that. It's just a much more professional look to do that way. Now another thing that I do is I have pre-recorded a message to the people online during my meet and greet. I don't have that here, but what I've done is I've created one that says, hey, welcome to worship. It's great to have you here. We hope that you engage with us, comment online. It's a way for them to know that they're being cared for, specifically so that, you know, because the minute and a half for meet and greet, they're just going to be sitting there for a minute and a half. So you need to engage them in some way. You need to talk to them in some way. So I've, for our normal service, I've created a pre-recorded, basically audio file that says all these things, and it's a minute and a half long. So what I do is I go into my meet and greet. I'll add an action. We'll go to action palette. I've added audio, and then I'll have gone into whatever it is. So we'll just select this one, even though it's not the one. I've added a certain my audio file, and then I'm going to go into my inspector of my meet and greet. And as you can see, now it shows my audio file, and it shows this. But here's the important part. You want this to be highlighted. You want your voice to be highlighted, but there is audio on this. So if I go ahead and play this, you can see there's audio part of this video. So you want to turn this down. So we'll go to audio, and you just want to turn the volume down, not all the way. You want a little bit left. so that this countdown is still going on, but your voice is highlighted. So let's see what that looks like. Now we still have the music that I've added, which is the main portion, and we still have a nice music in the background from this countdown. All right. Now the other important thing is you need to clear that music out. One way to do this is we'll go to Inspector, because this is going to loop back and forth. All right. You can say if it's only a minute and a half long, I'm going to stop the playback. Right. If you'll hit a minute and a half, and it'll stop and it won't do it again. If you have more than a minute and a half, like you forgot to trim it or you don't know how to trim it, what you need to do is after that minute and a half countdown, you need to clear the music or the audio, right? So I'm going to clear audio so that if I'm playing this, once I come to this slide, my audio fades out. And I just have my upcoming, and we don't actually have that audio going to my live stream anymore. All right? And then when I'm going back to my lyrics and I have my video input and all that jazz, as you can see, my live stream has a lower third, but my left and right screen are full. They're the exact same thing as you normally see, and my stage screen is the exact same. So this is why we create, let me go back to live stream. This is why we create looks, is because we're engaging two different audiences. And they deserve to have the professionality, whether they're at home during this pandemic or at home because they're older or it's snowing outside as we would here in Denver, or a plethora of reasons. Maybe they're recovering from surgery or whatever. We have two audiences and they need to be engaged in different ways. So that's important why we have these looks, and that's why we have these screens, is to be able to do that. So I hope this has been informative to you. This is our last session unless I have extra questions at the end. Perhaps there's something I didn't go into detail enough. I'll create an extra one for that. But if you have questions, if you have comments, please leave them at the bottom of the YouTube, and I hope that you have a great day. Thank you.